Jake Morrison lay flat on his belly behind a fallen oak tree. His rifle scope showed him everything he needed to see. The alien ship sat in a deep crater about half a mile away. Steam rose from its twisted metal hull. The craft was huge, maybe 3 times bigger than any fighter jet he had ever seen. The tattoos on his arms began to glow with a soft blue light. Jake watched the patterns move under his skin like living things. Each mark told a story of battles, won and enemies defeated. But these were not ordinary tattoos. They were made with special ink that connected to tiny machines in his blood. The machines made him faster, stronger, and smarter than regular soldiers. Jake had been a body art warrior for 8 years. The military doctors had put the first marks on him when he was 22. Back then, the needles hurt worse than any pain he had ever felt. But now the tattoos were part of him. They helped him see in the dark, heal from wounds quickly, and think faster than any computer. His team was spread out in the woods around him. Sergeant Lisa Thompson crouched behind a large rock to his left. Her arms were covered with lines that looked like computer circuits. When she touched her rifle, the patterns glowed green, and her weapon became part of her body. She could hit targets from over a mile away without even looking through a scope. Corporal Mike Rodriguez hid in a tree 30 feet above the ground. His chest and back were covered with triangle and square shapes that helped his body work better. He could hold his breath for 20 minutes and run for hours without getting tired. His tattoos also kept his body at the perfect temperature, even in winter snow or summer heat. Private Emma Davis was somewhere in the thick bushes to Jake's right. Her tattoos looked like vines and leaves growing all over her skin. They connected to her nerves and made her aware of everything around her. She could feel a rabbit moving 50 yards away or hear a bird landing on a branch behind her. Emma was their early warning system. Jake spoke into his radio headset. "Control, this is Hunter Team. We have eyes on the target. Ship is down hard in crater. No movement visible." The voice of Colonel Sarah Mitchell came through his earpiece. "Copy that, Hunter Team. What's your assessment?" Jake studied the crash site through his scope. The alien ship was not like anything in the military databases. Its surface seemed to shift and change as he watched. Sometimes it looked like metal, other times like smooth stone or even living skin. Strange plants had started growing around the crater edges. They twisted up toward the sky in spiral patterns that hurt his eyes to look at. "Ship appears to be intact but damaged," Jake reported. "Unusual plant growth around the impact site. Local wildlife seems to be acting strange." That was putting it nicely. Jake had watched a family of deer walk in perfect circles around the crater for over an hour. Birds flew in impossible patterns overhead, making shapes in the sky that looked almost like writing. Even the insects moved differently here, forming lines and groups that seemed too organized to be natural. "Hunter Team, you are authorized to move closer for detailed reconnaissance," Colonel Mitchell said. "Remember, we need to know what we're dealing with. This could be first contact with alien intelligence." Jake felt a chill run down his spine. That had nothing to do with the cold mountain air. 3 days ago, this alien ship had torn through Earth's atmosphere like a meteor. Military satellites tracked it as it crashed in the remote Appalachian wilderness. The impact had registered on seismic equipment 3 states away. Within hours, reconnaissance drones were sent to investigate. All 6 drones went silent as soon as they got within a mile of the crash site. Satellite images showed the ship and the growing ring of strange plant life, but nothing else. Whatever was inside that craft was interfering with Earth technology. "Move out," Jake whispered into his radio. "Stay alert and maintain communication." The team began their approach through the dense forest. Jake's tattoos pulsed brighter as they got closer to the ship. The blue glow spread from his arms to his chest and back. He had never seen them react this way before. Usually, the patterns only lit up during combat or when he was using their enhanced abilities. As they crept through the underbrush, Jake noticed that the forest was changing. The trees grew taller and thicker the closer they got to the crater. Their bark had an oily rainbow sheen that reflected light in weird ways. Moss hung from branches in long curtains that moved without any wind. "Jake!" Emma's voice came through the radio. She sounded worried. "Something's wrong with the local ecosystem. The plants are growing too fast. I can feel them moving underground. Root systems are spreading toward us." Mike's voice joined the conversation. "Temperature's rising too. My body regulation systems are working overtime. Whatever's in that ship is putting out serious heat." Lisa added her own observation. "Energy readings are off the charts. My weapon systems keep trying to auto-target things that aren't there. Or maybe they are there and we just can't see them yet." Jake felt it too. The tattoos on his chest were starting to itch and burn. The Celtic knot patterns mixed with circuit designs began to pulse in rhythm with something he could not identify. It felt like a heartbeat, but too slow and too deep to belong to any human. They reached the edge of the crater and took cover behind the twisted remains of several large trees. The alien ship was even more impressive up close. It stretched over 200 feet in length and rose nearly 50 feet high at its central point. The hull was seamless, without any visible doors or windows, but Jake could swear he saw shadows, moving inside it as if the metal was transparent to something other than human eyes. His radio crackled with static. Colonel Mitchell's voice came through broken and distorted. "Hunter team, report, status?" Jake tried to respond, but his radio only produced more static. He looked at his teammates and saw the same problem on their faces. Whatever was inside that ship was now jamming all their communications with headquarters. "We're on our own," he whispered to his team. That was when Jake heard it. A sound that came from inside his own head, bypassing his ears entirely. It was not quite music and not quite voices, but something between the two. His tattoos blazed with light as the sound grew stronger. The patterns on his skin began to shift and change, forming new designs he had never seen before. Emma gasped and pointed at her arms. Her vine-like tattoos were growing, spreading across her skin like real plants. Mike's geometric patterns spun and rotated like gears in an invisible machine. Lisa's circuit designs sparked with actual electricity. Jake realized with growing horror that their body art was responding to something in the alien craft. The tattoos that made them the perfect human warriors were connecting to whatever intelligence lay inside that ship, and it was connecting back to them. The forest around them seemed to hold its breath, waiting to see what would happen next. Jake felt the alien song growing stronger in his mind. His tattoos burned like fire under his skin. The blue light from the Celtic knot patterns on his chest spread across his entire body. He tried to focus on his military training, but strange thoughts kept pushing into his head. He saw images that did not belong to him. Ancient forests filled with trees as tall as skyscrapers, creatures that looked almost human but moved through the air like birds, cities that grew instead of being built, with buildings made from living wood and flowing water. "Jake, you need to answer me." Emma's voice sounded far away even though she was right next to him. "Your tattoos are changing color. They're turning from blue to green." Jake looked down at his arms. Emma was right. The ink under his skin was shifting colors like oil on water. The circuit patterns were rearranging themselves into new shapes. Spirals and curves replaced the straight lines he had carried for 8 years. "I'm okay," he said, but his voice sounded different, deeper and more resonant than before. "I can hear something. Music or voices. It's coming from the ship." Lisa raised her rifle and aimed it at the alien craft. Her circuit tattoos glowed bright red, which meant her weapon system was in full combat mode. "Jake, step away from the crater edge. That thing is doing something to you." But Jake could not step away. The alien ship was calling to him, not with words, but with feelings and images that filled his mind. He saw Earth as it was millions of years ago. Vast oceans covered most of the land. Strange creatures swam in the depths, while others flew through thick green air. And there were visitors. beings from distant stars who came to the young planet and left gifts. Seeds that would grow over countless years. Technology that would merge with life itself. Patterns that would wait in the genetic code of species yet to evolve. The ship isn't just a ship, Jake said. His enhanced senses were picking up frequencies that should not exist. Sound waves that traveled through solid rock. Light spectrums that his eyes could suddenly see. It's alive, and it recognizes us. Mike dropped down from his tree and landed beside them. His geometric tattoos were spinning faster now, creating optical illusions that made it hard to look at him directly. Jake, your heart rate just spiked to over 200 beats per minute. Your body temperature is rising. Whatever's happening to you isn't normal. Emma reached out to touch Jake's arm, then pulled her hand back quickly. He's giving off electrical energy. I can feel it through my nerve tattoos. And there's something else. The forest is responding to him. She was right. The twisted trees around the crater were bending toward Jake like plants reaching for sunlight. The strange moss hanging from the branches glowed with the same green light as his tattoos. Even the ground under his feet felt warm and alive. Jake's tactical display, projected directly onto his corneal implants, began showing information he had never seen before. Star charts with systems he did not recognize. Chemical formulas for substances that did not exist on Earth. Most disturbing of all, schematic diagrams of human anatomy with modifications that looked exactly like their body art enhancements. The tattoos, Jake whispered as understanding hit him like a physical blow. The technology we use, it's not human. It never was human. Lisa kept her rifle trained on the ship, but now she was also watching Jake with growing alarm. What are you talking about? The Body Art Warrior program was developed by our own scientists. They reverse-engineered the technology from meteors. Not meteors, Jake said. The alien knowledge flowing into his mind was showing him the truth. Seeds. Left behind by explorers who visited Earth long before humans existed. They were waiting for a species smart enough to find them and advanced enough to integrate the technology into their own bodies. The burning in Jake's tattoos intensified. He could feel the nanomachines in his bloodstream responding to signals from the ship. But instead of making him stronger and faster as they always had, they were changing him into something else. Something more than human, but still recognizably Jake Morrison. His reflexes suddenly became superhuman. When a branch fell from a tree above him, Jake caught it without looking up. The movement was so fast that his teammates barely saw it happen. His enhanced hearing picked up conversations from birds and small animals. Somehow, he understood what they were saying. "Jake, we need to get you away from here," Emma said. Her vine tattoos were spreading across her skin like real plants, and she was fighting to keep them under control. Whatever's in that ship is accelerating our enhancement systems beyond safe parameters, but Jake did not want to leave. For the first time in his life, he felt truly alive. The alien influence was not taking over his mind. Instead, it was showing him what he could become, what humanity could become. The Body Art Warriors were just the beginning of human evolution. Don't you see? Jake turned to face his teammates. His eyes were glowing with the same green light as his tattoos. We're not being invaded. We're being invited to grow, to become something better than we are. Lisa's finger moved to her rifle's trigger. Jake, you're compromised. The alien influence is affecting your judgment. I'm calling for immediate extraction. She tried to activate her emergency beacon, but her circuit tattoos sparked and went dark. The alien technology was interfering with all their systems now. Mike's temperature regulation failed, and he started sweating despite the cool mountain air. Emma's enhanced awareness became overwhelming as she sensed every living thing within a mile radius. Jake felt sorry for his teammates. They were fighting against the change instead of embracing it. The alien presence in the ship was not hostile. It was ancient and patient, and full of wisdom gathered from 1,000 worlds. It had been waiting for humans to develop enough to understand its gift. "The forest isn't just responding to me," Jake said as he walked closer to the crater edge. "It's been waiting for us, all of it. The trees, the animals, even the rocks and streams. Earth itself has been preparing for this moment." The alien ship pulsed with brighter light. Jake could see movement inside the translucent hull now. Something large was awakening after a long sleep. Something that had traveled across the galaxy to reach this small planet and complete a cycle that began before human civilization existed. His teammates called his name, but their voices sounded muffled and distant. Jake's consciousness was expanding beyond his physical body. He could feel the entire forest ecosystem as if it were part of his own nervous system. Every tree root, every flowing stream, every creature hiding in the underbrush. And deep beneath it all, he sensed a vast intelligence that had been watching and waiting and hoping that one day the young species called humanity would be ready to take its place among the stars. The wild was not something to be conquered or tamed. It was something to be joined. Jake's mind split in two. One part of him remained Lieutenant Commander Jake Morrison, loyal soldier of the United States military. That part screamed at him to fight the alien influence, to complete his mission and protect his team. But the other part of him was growing stronger by the minute. This new Jake understood things the old Jake never could. He saw the history of Earth through alien eyes. Millions of years ago, explorers from distant stars had visited the young planet. They found a world full of life, but no intelligent species. So they planted seeds, not just in the ground, but in the very fabric of evolution itself. They waited and watched as creatures grew and changed and learned. The dinosaurs had been their first attempt at creating intelligent life. When that failed, they tried again with mammals, and again with early humans. Each time they left behind small pieces of technology, fragments that would be discovered when the species was ready to use them. "Jake, you need to listen to me." Emma's voice cut through the alien visions flooding his mind. She had moved closer to him, despite the dangerous energy radiating from his body. "Your tattoos are rewriting themselves. The patterns are becoming something we've never seen before." Jake looked down at his arms. The familiar Celtic knots and circuit designs were gone. In their place, new symbols flowed across his skin like living things. They looked organic and technological at the same time. Vines made of light wrapped around geometric shapes that pulsed with their own heartbeat. "I can see what they mean," Jake said. His voice carried harmonics that made the air vibrate. "Each symbol is a star system, a place where life like ours exists. We're not alone in the universe. We never were." Lisa backed away from him, her rifle still raised. "Jake, whatever. That thing in the ship is telling you it's lying. Aliens don't help other species evolve, they conquer them." But Jake could feel the truth flowing through his enhanced nervous system. The beings who built the ship were not conquerors. They were gardeners. They traveled from world to world, planting seeds of possibility and returning thousands of years later to see what had grown. His tactical awareness expanded beyond human limits. Jake could sense every member of his team as clearly as if they were part of his own body. Lisa's heart was racing with fear and determination. Mike's body was struggling to regulate its temperature as his tattoos overloaded. Emma's enhanced senses were being flooded with too much information. And 30 miles away, he could feel something else. A military response team was approaching fast. Helicopters filled with soldiers who did not understand what they were facing. They carried weapons designed to kill humans, not stop an evolutionary transformation. "They're coming for us," Jake said. "Colonel Mitchell sent a kill team. She thinks we've been compromised by hostile aliens." Mike wiped sweat from his forehead as his temperature regulation tattoos flickered between different colors. "Maybe we have been compromised." "Jake, you're talking about seeing star systems and feeling people from 30 miles away. That's not human anymore." Human is what we choose to be, Jake replied. The alien knowledge in his mind showed him species from across the galaxy who had faced this same choice. Some had accepted evolution and joined the community of advanced civilizations. Others had rejected it and remained forever trapped on their home worlds. Emma suddenly gasped and pointed at the alien ship. The translucent hull was becoming more transparent, revealing the creature inside. It was enormous, easily 12 feet tall, but its shape was constantly changing. Sometimes it looked like a giant tree with branches that moved like arms. Other times it resembled a flowing river of liquid metal. Most often it appeared to be made of pure light held together by willpower alone. "It's beautiful," Jake whispered. Through his enhanced perception, he could feel the being's emotions. It was tired from the long journey across space, happy to finally reach Earth, and most of all, hopeful that humanity would accept its gift. But his teammates did not share his wonder. Lisa's weapon systems locked onto the ship and began charging for a high-energy shot. "That thing is the source of the contamination. If we destroy it, maybe we can reverse what's happening to you." "No," Jake said, moving faster than human reflexes should allow. He appeared between Lisa and her target before she could fire. "You don't understand. It's not contaminating us. It's completing us." The burning in Jake's tattoos reached a new level of intensity. He could feel the nanomachines in his blood responding to signals from the alien being. But instead of pain, the sensation brought clarity. His human memories became sharper and more vivid. His training and experience remained intact. The alien influence was not erasing his humanity, it was building upon it. Mike tried to tackle Jake from the side, using his enhanced strength and speed, but Jake's reflexes had evolved beyond human limits. He caught Mike's arm and gently but firmly pushed him away. The corporal flew backward, 20 feet, and landed softly in a pile of the strange, glowing moss. "Jake, please," Emma pleaded. Her vine tattoos were now covering most of her body, and she was struggling to maintain control. "Fight whatever's happening to you. Remember who you are. Remember your duty to protect humanity." "I am protecting humanity," Jake said. He could feel the approaching military response team getting closer. Their helicopters would arrive in less than 10 minutes. When they did, they would attack both the alien ship and anyone who had been affected by its influence. "The being in that ship isn't our enemy, it's our teacher." The alien creature inside the ship began to move, its flowing, ever-changing form, pressed against the transparent hull as if trying to communicate directly with Jake's team. Patterns of light danced across its surface, creating symbols that Jake's enhanced mind could now read. The message was simple but profound. The creature had been asleep for thousands of years, waiting for Earth's dominant species to develop technology advanced enough to merge with biological systems. The Body Art Warrior program had been the trigger it was waiting for. Humans had finally proven they were ready for the next stage of evolution. But the choice had to be freely made. The alien being would not force change upon anyone. It would only offer the opportunity to grow beyond the limitations of purely biological existence. Jake felt his consciousness expanding even further. He could sense other worlds where this same choice had been offered. Planets where entire civilizations had embraced transformation and now traveled among the stars. Worlds where species had rejected change and eventually destroyed themselves through war and environmental collapse. Earth stood at the same crossroads. The approaching military team represented humanity's fear of change. Jake and his teammates represented the possibility of something greater. "The choice isn't just mine," Jake realized as the sound of helicopter rotors grew louder in the distance. "It's ours, all of ours. What happens next will determine whether humanity joins the galactic community or remains forever trapped on one small planet." His tattoos blazed with light that could be seen from miles away, a beacon that would guide both salvation and destruction to this remote mountain crater. The sound of helicopter blades grew louder as Jake faced the most important decision of his life. His human mind told him to obey orders and trust his military training. The alien consciousness showed him wonders beyond imagination. Instead of choosing one over the other, Jake did something that surprised both sides of his fractured awareness. He chose to be both. Jake forced his human memories and alien knowledge to work together instead of fighting each other. The process felt like holding two different songs in his head at the same time and making them into harmony. Pain shot through his skull as the two forms of consciousness merged into something entirely new. His tattoos exploded with light that turned night into day across the entire forest. The patterns on his skin rewrote themselves one final time, becoming a perfect blend of human technology and alien wisdom. Circuit designs grew into organic shapes that pulsed with life. Celtic knots transformed into star maps that showed the way to distant worlds. When the light faded, Jake was still Jake Morrison. He remembered his childhood in Ohio, his military training, every mission he had ever completed. But now he also carried the memories of the ancient being in the ship. He knew the history of 1,000 worlds and understood sciences that humans had not yet discovered. "Jake, what did you do?" Emma whispered. Her vine tattoos had stopped spreading and were now glowing with a gentle green light that seemed to calm her enhanced senses. "I found a middle path," Jake said. His voice carried both human warmth and alien wisdom. "We don't have to choose between what we were and what we could become. We can be both." Through his hybrid consciousness, Jake reached out to the alien being in the ship. The creature was ancient, beyond human understanding, but it had never encountered a species that tried to merge their nature with alien influence instead of being overwhelmed by it. Most civilizations either accepted complete transformation or rejected it entirely. The being communicated directly with Jake's mind, sharing images and concepts that would have driven a purely human consciousness insane. But Jake's merged awareness could handle the information flow. He learned that Earth was part of a vast network of worlds being guided toward advancement. Some planets succeeded in making the evolutionary leap. Others destroyed themselves in the attempt. The choice always came down to fear versus hope. Fear led to conflict and destruction. Hope led to growth and exploration among the stars. "They're here," Mike said, pointing toward the sky. 3 military helicopters appeared over the tree line, their searchlights cutting through the darkness. Armed soldiers prepared to rappel down ropes, ready to eliminate what they saw as an alien threat. Jake could feel the fear radiating from the incoming troops. To them, he and his team had been compromised by hostile invaders. They had orders to destroy the ship and eliminate anyone who had been affected by alien influence. The soldiers were good people trying to protect their world, but they did not understand what they were really fighting. "I can stop them," Jake said, his enhanced abilities showing him exactly how to disable the helicopters without harming anyone inside. But that won't solve the real problem. Humanity has to choose its own future. Lisa lowered her rifle for the first time since the crisis began. Her circuit tattoos were stabilizing, no longer the angry red of combat mode, but a steady blue that indicated readiness for communication. "What are you suggesting?" "I'm going to show them the truth," Jake replied. "All of them, the soldiers, the people back home, everyone, they deserve to see what we've seen and make their own choice about whether humanity is ready to grow." The alien being inside the ship understood Jake's plan and agreed to help. Together, they began broadcasting on every frequency humans used for communication. Radio, television, internet, and satellite networks all carried the same message. Not words, but direct experience. Every person on Earth suddenly saw through Jake's hybrid consciousness. They experienced the history of the galaxy, witnessed other worlds where species had successfully evolved, and felt the patient love of the gardener races who helped civilizations grow. They saw that Earth had been gently guided for millions of years, not conquered but nurtured. The effect was immediate and dramatic. In the helicopters above, soldiers stopped preparing for combat and stared in wonder at visions of beautiful alien cities. Around the world, people looked up at the stars with new understanding. They were not alone in the universe, and they never had been. But the choice remained theirs to make. Jake felt the weight of his species' decision as millions of minds processed the revelation. Some humans rejected the visions as lies or tricks. Others embraced the possibility of joining a galactic community. Most fell somewhere in between, uncertain but curious about what the future might hold. The transformation isn't mandatory, Jake explained to his teammates as the helicopters began landing nearby instead of attacking. Anyone who wants to remain purely human can do so. But those who choose to evolve will help build bridges between Earth and the stars. Emma stepped forward, her vine tattoos now completely stable and beautiful. I want to see those other worlds you showed us. I want to help my species grow. Mike nodded agreement, his geometric patterns spinning in perfect harmony. My whole life, I've felt like there was something more out there. Now I know what it is. Lisa took longer to decide, her military training warring with her curiosity. Finally, she spoke. If we do this, if we accept this evolution, we'll still be human at heart, right? We won't lose what makes us who we are. We'll become more human than we ever imagined possible, Jake assured her. The alien influence doesn't replace our nature. It reveals our potential. The first soldiers to emerge from the landed helicopters moved slowly and carefully, but without the hostile intent they had carried moments before. The global broadcast had reached them, too. They had seen the truth about humanity's place in the cosmos. Jake walked toward them with his hands open and empty. His tattoos glowed with warm light that somehow made everyone feel safe and hopeful. The ancient being in the ship began to emerge, its form shifting into something that seemed both alien and familiar. The real test was just beginning. Humanity had been given a glimpse of its possible future. Now they had to decide whether they were brave enough to reach for it. Captain Robert Hayes stepped out of the lead helicopter with his weapon lowered but ready. He had been sent to eliminate an alien threat, but the visions flowing through his mind changed everything. He could see other worlds where beings like himself had made the same choice he now faced. Some had chosen growth and now traveled among the stars. Others had chosen fear and remained forever trapped. "Stand down, Captain," Jake said as he approached. His voice carried authority that came from more than military rank. "There's no threat here, only opportunity." Hayes looked at Jake's glowing tattoos and the alien ship behind him. 3 days ago, he would have opened fire immediately. But the global broadcast had shown him things that made such simple responses impossible. He had seen civilizations that learned to blend their original nature with advanced technology. They remained true to themselves while becoming something greater. "Command wants this area secured and the alien vessel destroyed," Hayes said, though his words lacked conviction. "Our orders are clear." "Your orders were written by people who didn't understand the situation," Jake replied. "Look around you. Captain, does this look like an invasion?" Hayes did look around. The forest was more beautiful than he had ever seen it. Trees grew in natural spirals that somehow felt perfectly right. The air itself seemed cleaner and more alive. Strange flowers bloomed in patterns that spelled out mathematical equations his enhanced vision could suddenly read. The alien being emerged fully from its ship, and Hayes got his first clear look at humanity's potential teacher. It stood 12 feet tall, but moved with fluid grace. Its form shifted constantly between organic and technological elements, as if it could not decide which it preferred to be. When it looked at the human soldiers, its expression radiated patient kindness. "It's been waiting for us," Hayes realized. "All this time it's been waiting for us to grow up enough to understand." Emma stepped forward, her vine tattoos now forming beautiful patterns that seemed to dance in the moonlight. Captain, we've been given a choice. We can remain as we are, or we can become something that can explore the galaxy while keeping our humanity intact. What about Earth? Hayes asked. If we evolve, do we abandon our home world? Jake smiled, and his expression carried both human warmth and alien wisdom. Earth becomes our launching point to the stars, not our prison. The Gardner races don't take species away from their homes. They help them expand beyond them. Through his hybrid consciousness, Jake showed the captain and his soldiers visions of other worlds where this transformation had succeeded. They saw planets where evolved humans lived in harmony with their original environments while also building ships that could travel between stars. They maintained their connection to nature while embracing technology that seemed like magic. But the visions also showed the failures, worlds where fear had triumphed over hope, species that had rejected evolution and eventually destroyed themselves through war, pollution, or simple stagnation. Their planets became empty monuments to missed opportunities. The choice has to be made freely. The alien being communicated directly to all the humans present. Its voice felt like wind through ancient trees and the hum of advanced machinery at the same time. No one will be forced to change, but those who choose to grow will help their species reach for the stars. Lisa raised her hand like a student, asking a question. What happens to the people who choose to stay human? Are they left behind? They become the guardians of Earth, Jake explained. Every advanced civilization needs people who remember where they came from. Some humans will explore the galaxy. Others will protect the home world and prepare future generations for their own choice. Mike looked up at the stars visible through the forest canopy. How many other species are out there? How many worlds could we visit? The alien being shared, images that took their breath away. Thousands of civilizations scattered across the galaxy, each one unique but connected through the network of Gardner races. Ocean worlds where evolved dolphins built cities beneath the waves. Desert planets where crystalline beings sang songs that could reshape matter. Forest worlds where tree-like creatures grew spaceships instead of building them. All of them started where you are now, the being explained. All of them faced the same choice between fear and hope, between staying safe and growing strong. Captain Hayes made his decision first. He set down his weapon and walked toward the alien ship. I want to see what's possible. I want to help my species reach the stars. His tattoos, simpler than those of Jake's team, but still connected to the same basic technology, began to glow with soft light. The patterns shifted and grew, becoming more complex as they adapted to his choice. Hayes felt his consciousness expand beyond his physical body, connecting him to the forest ecosystem and the vast intelligence that had guided Earth's development. One by one, his soldiers made their own choices. Some joined him in accepting transformation. Others stepped back, choosing to remain purely human. Both choices were respected and honored. There was no judgment, no pressure. Only understanding that different people would follow different paths. Emma's tattoos suddenly blazed with brilliant light. Jake, I can feel something happening around the world. Other people are making the same choice we did. The broadcast reached everyone. Jake nodded, his enhanced senses picking up the global transformation beginning to occur. In laboratories and universities, scientists who had studied the meteors for decades finally understood what they had really found. In military bases, other body art warriors felt their tattoos responding to the alien signal. In homes and schools, ordinary people experienced visions of possible futures and decided whether they were ready to reach for them. How many will choose to evolve? Lisa asked. The alien being's form shifted into something that resembled a wise old tree. Enough to ensure your species' survival and growth. Not so many that your original human nature is lost. Balance is the key to successful evolution. Jake felt the weight of responsibility settling on his shoulders. He had become the first bridge between humanity and the galactic community. His choices would help shape how his species integrated with the broader universe. It was a burden he had never asked for, but one he willingly accepted. "What happens next?" he asked the ancient being. "Next, you learn, you grow, you explore. And when you are ready, you help other young species make the same choice you have made today." The cycle continues, as it has for millions of years across countless worlds. The forest around them pulsed with new life as Earth itself began to adapt to humanity's evolutionary leap. Trees grew taller and stronger, their root systems forming natural communication networks. Rivers flowed in patterns that generated clean energy. Even the air became richer with possibilities. Humanity had taken its first step toward the stars, but they would never forget the world that gave them birth. 6 months after first contact, Jake Morrison stood where the alien ship had once crashed. The crater was gone, filled in by new growth that seemed both natural and impossible. Trees grew in perfect spirals that reached toward the sky like green rockets. Flowers bloomed in mathematical patterns that spelled out star coordinates. The forest had become a living map of the galaxy. His tattoos had evolved far beyond their original design. The patterns on his skin now showed real-time information about distant worlds. Each Celtic knot represented a star system where human explorers had established contact with other civilizations. The circuit designs displayed communication channels that connected Earth to the galactic network of evolved species. Emma approached. Through the transformed forest, her vine tattoos now extending beyond her skin to interface directly with the plant life around her. She could feel the health of entire ecosystems and help guide their growth. Her role had changed from warrior to gardener, tending the wild places that would prepare future humans for life among the stars. "The first exploration ship is ready for launch," she reported. "Mike and Lisa volunteered to be part of the crew. They want to visit the crystal singers on Kepler 442b. Jake nodded, feeling proud of his teammates' courage. The exploration ships were grown rather than built, using technology that blended human engineering with alien wisdom. They looked like enormous seeds with metallic shells that could unfold into solar collectors or fold tight for protection during hyperspace jumps. "And the people who chose to remain purely human?" Jake asked. "They're doing well. Many of them have become teachers and historians, making sure we never forget our origins. Others are working to protect Earth's natural environments. They understand that our planet needs guardians while some of us explore the galaxy." The division had not created conflict as many had feared. Evolved humans and original humans worked together as partners. The enhanced individuals served as bridges between Earth and the stars, while the unmodified humans kept their species grounded in their homeworld's values and traditions. Captain Hayes emerged from behind a cluster of the spiral trees. His tattoos had grown more complex over the months, and he now served as Earth's primary liaison with the galactic community. His military background made him perfect for navigating the complex politics of species that had been traveling between worlds for millions of years. "We just received a message from the Kepler system," Hayes said. "The Crystal Singers want to share their music-based terraforming technology with us. Apparently, they think humans have a unique approach to harmonizing biological and technological systems." Jake smiled. Humanity's contribution to the galactic community was becoming clear. Most species chose either pure technology or pure biology when they evolved. Humans had found a way to blend both approaches, creating solutions that amazed even ancient civilizations. The alien being that had started their transformation appeared beside them, its form now resembling a wise old oak tree with silver bark that pulsed with gentle light. It had decided to remain on Earth as an advisor and teacher, the first gardener to settle permanently on a world it had helped evolve. "Your species continues to surprise us," it communicated directly to their minds. "Most civilizations become either explorers or guardians. You have become both simultaneously. That was the uniquely human solution. Instead of abandoning Earth to explore the galaxy, they had made their home world the heart of a growing network of human colonies. Each new world they settled remained connected to Earth through quantum communication networks that allowed instant contact across any distance. Jake walked to the edge of what had once been the crash site. A new structure was growing there, part building and part living tree. It would serve as Earth's first interstellar embassy, where representatives from other worlds could visit and learn about human culture. "Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if we had chosen differently," Jake said. "If we had rejected the opportunity to evolve." The alien being's form shifted to show images of other worlds where species had made that choice. Dead planets, stripped of resources by civilizations that never learned to live in harmony with their environments. Empty cities on worlds where fear had prevented growth and exploration. Species that had destroyed themselves rather than risk change. "Fear leads to stagnation," the being explained. "Stagnation leads to conflict. Conflict leads to destruction. You chose hope instead of fear. That choice will echo across the galaxy for millions of years." Emma placed her hand on the bark of one of the spiral trees. Through her enhanced connection to plant life, she could feel the vast network of root systems that now connected all of Earth's forests. The planet itself had become more alive, more aware, as if it shared in humanity's evolution. "What's our next step?" she asked. Jake's tattoos pulsed with information from across the galaxy. Human exploration teams were making contact with new civilizations. Earth-based scientists were developing technologies that amazed species thousands of years older than humanity. Children born after the transformation were showing abilities that surpassed even the enhanced adults. "We keep growing," Jake said. "We keep exploring. We keep learning. And most importantly, we keep remembering what it means to be human." A new sound filled the air above them. The first interstellar transport was returning from the Vega system, carrying human ambassadors who had spent months learning from an aquatic civilization that built cities from living coral. The ship looked like a giant butterfly with wings that shifted between transparent and opaque as it descended. As the transport landed in the natural clearing that had grown to accommodate it, Jake felt a deep sense of satisfaction. The scared soldier who had crawled through the forest 6 months ago could never have imagined this outcome. He had thought he was investigating an alien invasion. Instead, he had discovered humanity's destiny among the stars. The wild places of Earth had always called to human hearts. Now those wild places extended beyond the planet to encompass the entire universe. Humanity had not conquered nature or abandoned it. They had learned to dance with it across the cosmos, bringing life and hope to dead worlds while keeping their connection to the green planet that gave them birth. Jake Morrison, the body art warrior who had tried to infiltrate a fallen craft, had instead become the bridge that carried his species to the stars. The wild had not taken control of his mind. It had shown him that his mind was already wild, already free, already reaching toward infinite possibilities. And in the vast wilderness of space, humanity was finally, truly home.